Well, first a little short intro clip here, repairing my HarborFreight compressor. The other day it wouldn't go up to 125 pounds. It would just go up to 90 and stay running forever. So the typical problem with these replate brakes. I'm still surprised it went up to 90 pounds. But I just wanted to put a very short intro clip here, how easy it is to fix this. Pop the 4 bolts out. I didn't even have to take no cowling off on this particular model, but they're all very similar. Take the 4 bolts out. Disconnect the air line on the side. You could even do it with a full tank of air. There's 90 pounds in it, so nothing comes out. The check valve keeps the air in the tank. But you can see the one broken reed valve. I already ordered new ones, like $9 for 2. I've had this air compressor maybe, I don't know, close to 3 years, 2.5 years, and it's been run a lot. I have one of 3. This is the smallest one I have. I use this one to move around outside, so it gets a lot of use. But I have a big DeWalt 60-gallon downstairs for my sandblaster, and then I have a bigger Sears Craftsman pusher portable that I use now and then too. But I just want to touch on that real quick. Just take the 4 bolts out, disconnect the air line, make sure you unplug it, and just order your new revalves. Put them in, put the gasket back in place. You might have to put a little grease on the one to stay up in the head, in the cavity in the head, so it stays put. Just a little dab of grease on each end, and put it back together, and you're set for another 3 years. Okay, that's for that. So I'm going to clean up the pistons now. I'll show you real quickly how I do it. I went through my hoard of rings, my small rings, my used ones, and I found a stack of used 15-horse rings here. So I'm probably going to cheap out on this and I'll clean up these rings and put them on the motor. I have 3 new sets. I priced them on eBay. They're $42, $43 a set is the cheapest I've seen. A few places are selling them for around $43 to $45 a set. I thought they would be a lot cheaper, but the part number is 378416. I have at least 10, 15 here, and one I did manage to get off the piston without breaking it. So I'm going to use them. I'll clean them up and use them, and I'll just make sure the ends where it sits around the pin is not cracked or broke, so that the piston ring doesn't chatter, which it shouldn't anyway. But I'll show you how I clean up the pistons. I already did this somewhat already, but I stuffed tissue paper in the rod area just to keep the rod from slopping around. I wire wheel on a bench grinder with a wire wheel on one side, the heads, and then I just Scotch-Brite the skirts, my hands. This is the second time I'm doing it, so all the heavy stuff is off already. Just want to show you how nice they come out. Just a couple minutes worth of work. Now this is, well, I got paper in there, I can't tell. Not sure which one that is. Just a regular average medium grade Scotch-Brite 3M. Buy it at Home Depot. I think it's that's all I do. Clean the grooves out. Sometimes I use a broken ring. I have small square files. I get in there to get all the crap out of the ring grooves. It's been a couple minutes just doing this, and they come out pretty nice. I've actually sandblasted pistons in the past, but I don't bother anymore. You can do it with the right abrasive media. This is number 1 where all that rust was. You've seen in part 2 video. Comes right off because, again, aluminum is, thank God there's no ferrous corrosion with aluminum. It was just the stains from the cylinder, from the cast iron cylinders. And the cylinders hone out really nice too. Alright, so we'll move on to the next step. Here I just got done torquing the bolts 185 pounds. Putting her back together. I want to get the block sealed. I ordered paint. Paint's coming soon. So I'll be painting the whole top end very soon. I wish it was here today. Today's Halloween. Beautiful day today. Low 70s, no wind. Anyway, moving on. Well, I got the motor all rebuilt. I put it back together the other day. And now I'm going to paint the power head. I got everything torqued up, back together. I had to put new rings in it. And new bearings, needle bearings on one of the crank pins. But now I'm getting ready to paint it. I'm just going to show you how I paint. I bought the paint from a company in Ohio, vintage outboard paint. And it's 1956 Holiday Bronze, sorry. And basically 2 coats and I'm done. Not rocket science. Always fun to paint. I used self-etching primer. And acetone to degrease it. Now this is the enamel in a can too, so it's not lacquer. So it's pretty good resistance against oil and petroleum and all that kind of stuff. I give it one coat, I'll let it tack up. And hit it again. I was going to buy a quart of paint, but it's like $100. And this is not a restoration, it's just a, you know, a little bit more than a reconditioning. So I'll let the paint set. It's about 55 degrees today, so it's borderline for painting. I really shouldn't be painting in this cooler weather, but I'm doing it anyway. But I'm going to give it another coat and take it from there. Why the first coat setting up on the block, I put it in my basement by the furnace to dry. I'm going to hit some of the other stuff I sandblasted and primed. Get it all sprayed today. It took me about like almost 2 hours to sandblast to complete from the pans up. I didn't sandblast the flywheel. I'm just going to clean it up. Or the magneto, but everything else was blasted. My compressor's working good too since I changed the reed valves. But again, here's the paint. A company in Ohio. They sell all the colors. Enamel. Fast dry acrylic enamel. I do the bottom first. The fun part. No tack coats here. Nice and wet, just like they did in the factory. I'll let that tack up and go right into the basement with these parts, then I'll do the recoil. Recoil time. Here, recoil. Don't do Papa. Any little overspray I'll take off with lacquer thinner later. Nice and wet here. Just like they did in the factory. Skimping corners here. And I'll get back on these with coat number 2 soon. Oh, I forgot one bracket. Nice and wet. 2 coats. I'll let this coat set up, and then I'll come back and do another one. Now I'm going to hit coat number 2. I'm going to do the bottom this time first. It's already dry. And I sprayed it maybe a half hour. It's dry to the touch. So now I'm going to do the bottom parts, the parts you can't see when you do it from the top. Continue. All the nooks and crannies that you miss. I mean, outboard blocks are notorious for little nooks and crannies. I had a little chip out over here in the back on one of these mounts. I filled it up with JB Weld. There's a little chip missing, so I even filled that up. Now I'm just coming back and doodling around. And that's it for the block. Once it dries, I'll look it over real good. I'll turn it upside down just to make sure I got all the spots. I used about maybe a half a can, 24 ounces, or 12 ounces. So I used about 6 ounces of paint to do 2 coats on the power head and 1 coat on all the other parts. Part 3, motors rebuilt. Painted, did what I had to do. I'm going to reveal it here. I haven't tried to start it yet. I'll probably try to start it tomorrow. But it's all ready to go. Some minor things I still have to do with the hood pin and the rubber strap. I got to put that in. But I just want to show you the block that I rebuilt, sandblasted, primed, and painted, and just got this thing, you know, almost back to close to new condition after so many years. There it is, painted. Like I said, I got the paint from a company in Ohio called Vintage Outboard Motor Paint. They're in Toledo. You can look them up on the internet. And let me switch over to the stabilizer and I'll show you a walk around. Boy, I tell you, my tree bench really comes in handy for doing this. There's the cover. Just detailed a little bit. Looks like it was kind of grimy. A couple minor things I have to do with the cover. I didn't put the start decal on it yet. In fact, I don't even have one. I have to get it. But I'm going to show you just the power head. Painted with 1956 Holiday Bronze. I end up taking a combination of 2 broken rubbers that I had and made one. Most of this is the original. From the bottom half I replaced from another broken one I had. I think I put a little silicone right here for this joint here, and that will finish the cover up. But you know, it's great that you could just make things work from 2 or 3 broken ones, you know. And I had to put 2 of these on here too. One was good, the other one was missing. The rubber bullets for the guides. My cover has the other 2 in the back inside. I did not paint the lower end. I drained the gear case. It was kind of, it was like crude oil, no water. I'm actually going to run it for a short time without gear oil in it. And then I open up the drains and see if there's any water contamination in it before I go any further. Instead of just putting oil in there, I didn't pressure test it. So you can also do that too. I didn't get around to doing that either. But I ended up putting new rings. I had to put new rings. I had 3 sets. All new needles on 1 crank pin, plus they were slightly rusty. I had 3. I had some in stock, so I ended up using them. But I'm pleased the way it came out, like I am all my outboard motors. Now I got to do the bottom end. Would have been easier to do it with the power head off, but that's okay. I've done it before, just to the lower end, like I did on that 1956 Johnson, that 1990 I did. I just want to finish showing you this motor. This is before I'm going to start it. I did not start it. Flywheel got cleaned up with a wire brush. It's still kind of rough looking here and there. When they're running, you can take a wire brush to them as they're running and polish them up. Scotch Brite or wire brush. Come out really nice. Pop the recoil off and just buff it out while it's running. But everything works on it. Throttle, 1956 Johnson 10. Being brought back from the dead. 25 years in my back, not 25. Moved here in 03. Almost 19 years in my backyard. And I don't know how long I had it when I had my other house. Maybe a year or two. So it goes back to the late 1990s. Another scrapyard motor. Probably originally paid $12 for it. $11 in scrap weight at the time. Aluminum was pretty cheap back then. I still got to do the both transom bracket clamps got to be freed up. That's always fun. And paint the lower end. So she's half done. Love that red. Oh, gorgeous red. Very close to the holiday bronze, as you can see. And the sun's going down now, so it's kind of dark, but it's much lighter in the sunlight. So I just want to give you an update on this motor. Again, it's rebuilt. I got new rings. I got some new bearings here and there. Everything's cleaned up. It was salvageable. I honed the cylinders, new spark plugs. The magneto, all I did with the magneto was take the points out. I polished them. They go right back in. The springs were good in the spark plug boots. Everything works out really good. I got a nice blue-white spark, but I have not tried to start it. I know she'll start right up. Seems to have really good compression. So we get a nice day tomorrow, I'll try to start it. Seems to have nice compression. And we'll take it from there. And part 4, I'll show you running them. I'll run the motor. Thanks again, and stay tuned for the next adventure. Have a good one. Take care. Adios, amigos.